While some may think of dive watches as summer watches, the truth is divers are arguably the most popular segment of watches. Dive watches are the ultimate tool watches. They can take a beating, accompany you on your diver swim, or just be an everyday wear. Hi, I'm Craig, founder of Wrist Enthusiast, and today I'm talking about dive watches. While not all watch collectors are divers, dive watches remain one of the most popular categories of wristwatches. Most every collector has a dive watch or multiple dive watches in their collection. So today I thought I'd talk about 15 of my favorite dive watches on the market right now. But first, if you like this content and want to see more of it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell below. So what makes a dive watch? Conventional wisdom is that a dive watch must be water resistant to at least 100 meters, although nowadays you will rarely find a true dive watch that has a water resistance rating of less than 200 meters. And I would say that most divers in the luxury segment have 300 plus meters of water resistance. Additionally, a dive watch should include a measuring system to indicate the diving time, which is usually, but not always, done through a unidirectional rotating 60-minute bezel. This unidirectional bezel allows for the diver to set his dive time and ensure he has enough oxygen while under the water. Finally, legibility and lume for low light situations is an important aspect of dive watches. Having superb legibility underwater is a must, and the deeper you go, the darker it gets, so lume is one of the biggest indicators of a quality dive watch. So now that we've defined the important features of a dive watch, let's get into my 15 favorite dive watches. First up on my list is perhaps the most famous diver of them all, the Rolex Submariner. First released in 1953, the Submariner has been a staple in Rolex's lineup ever since. The Submariner is so famous that Sean Connery famously wore a Submariner reference 6538 when he played James Bond in From Russia with Love and Goldfinger. The Submariner is viewed by many as the ultimate tool watch, even famously being used by Navy SEALs, so you can be sure that it'll stand the test of conventional diving with its 300 meters of water resistance. The Rolex Submariner date, reference 126610LN, retails for $10,250. The Omega Seamaster 300 meters might be the second most recognizable diver outside of the Submariner, and it's arguably the most direct competition when it comes to dive watches. The watch itself is sized fairly well at 42 millimeters, though it is very thick due to the large depth gauge and thick rotating bezel. And even then, it wears a little larger due to the large crown at 10 o'clock. Make no mistake, this is a tool watch through and through. Boasting 300 meters of water resistance, Omega's own COSC certification on the 800 coaxial in-house movement, much higher amounts of anti-magnetism than its closest competitors, and a ceramic bezel insert and dial, the Omega Seamaster 300 meters deserves a fair shake when you're considering a luxury dive watch. You can find an Omega Seamaster 300 meters for around $5,900 on bracelet. In 1953, just months before Rolex released a Submariner, Blancpain released the first modern dive watch with the 50 Fathoms. While it does not receive the same fanfare as a Submariner, the 50 Fathoms is rich in history and a favorite among collectors. Modern interpretation of the 50 Fathoms has stayed true to the original with a contemporary interpretation of the original bezel and dial. The modern 50 Fathoms is a large watch with a 45mm diameter case size. This makes the watch's legibility top-notch, and at 300 meters of water resistance, it is a true dive watch. The Blancpain 50 Fathoms retails for $18,100 on stainless steel bracelet. The Tudor Black Bay only has a relatively recent history as a dive watch, having been initially released just 10 years ago in 2012. But when you have the backing of a giant like Rolex, you can make a modern classic from nothing. The Black Bay actually takes the Rolex Submariner back to its roots with its lack of crown guard, red bezel triangle, old-school riveted bracelet, and even vintage lume. The Black Bay has always exuded a lot of vintage charm. If you want something different, the Black Bay also comes with a red or blue bezel insert. And if 41mm is too big for you, Tudor even offers a slimmed-down Black Bay 58 and 54 with a 39mm and 37mm case size. The Tudor Black Bay 41mm retails for $4,050 on steel bracelet. Besides Rolex and Blancpain, DOXA may be the brand with the most diving heritage. DOXA released a Sub 300 in 1966, and then, in 1968, DOXA released a Sub 300T Conquistador, which became the first dive watch available to the general public equipped with a helium release valve. DOXA re-released the Sub 300T in 2019 to the delight of divers and watch collectors alike. The watch not only comes on a great vintage-esque turtle case, but the 7-link bracelet is not only comfortable but unique and stylish. While the Sub 300T is offered in a variety of different colorways, the orange dial is true to the original and my favorite. On top of all of this, the watch is water resistant to an impressive 1,200 meters. You can pick up the DOXA Sub 300T for $1,890. Baltic has long been a fan favorite of Wrist Enthusiast, even if it took the brand a little bit of time to get in the groove of their designs. Baltic has found a sublime mix of vintage and modern aesthetics that has resonated not only with our team, but our followers too. The Baltic Aquascaphe is the epitome of how to add vintage influence to a modern automatic diver. The stainless steel case measures in at 41 millimeters with 300 meters of water resistance and can be found for a modest price of around $635. The IWC Aquatimer may not be at the forefront of every enthusiast's mind when thinking about dive watches, but I really like it. IWC has actually had the Aquatimer in their collection dating back to the early 60s and has not neglected it since. The Aquatimer is a truly versatile watch, even without a traditional dive bezel. Instead, IWC has put the traditional dive markings inside the crystal in what is called a compressor bezel. This gives the stainless steel watch a much cleaner aesthetic while still maintaining itself as a highly capable dive instrument. The watch measures a modest 42 millimeters, features 300 meters of water resistance, and can be found in numerous color variations for a modest $6,100. One of the more affordable watches on the list is the Zodiac Super Seawolf Pro Diver Titanium, a fun summer watch that boasts some seriously good specs for the price point. With its roots firmly in military heritage, Zodiac as a brand has really stepped up the last few years and created some quality dive watches at reasonable prices. In fact, you can read our latest review of the Super Seawolf Skin Diver at the link in the description. Where the Pro Diver differs is that not only does it come in funky colorways, it also comes in a titanium case, making it extremely light without really compromising the utilitarian nature of the watch. The Super Seawolf measures in at 42 millimeters with 200 meters of water resistance and can be found for $2,495. Another classic on my list is the simple but fun TAG Heuer Aquaracer. What makes the Aquaracer so cool is just how many unique variations there is to it, while still being a formidable opponent to the deep. The Aquaracer has recently gone through a bit of a facelift, coming in different sizes and colors as well as different movements. I prefer the 300 for the simple idea that it's a lot more watch for the price. The Aquaracer Professional 300 measures in at 43 millimeters and features 300 meters of water resistance for the price of $3,500 on steel bracelet. I had to include the Breitling Superocean Heritage on my list because the brand has released an all-new Superocean collection recently, and it's held solid as a favorite of the Wrist Enthusiast team, partly due to the fact that the watch is utilitarian in nature and comes with enough options to suit everyone. Chronographs, different colors, and a slew of size options gives enthusiasts plenty to choose from if they opt to spring for a Superocean Heritage. Plus, it's a solid tool watch measuring anywhere from 36 millimeters to 46 millimeters with a water resistance of 200 meters. It's a lot of watch for the money and comes from a reputable brand. Price for the Superocean Heritage is anywhere from $4,750 to $9,200 depending on the configuration. But the Superocean is offered on a really nice mesh bracelet that I am a huge fan of. One of the more affordable models on my list is the Seiko Prospex Diver. The Seiko Turtles have long been a staple dive watch in any affordable collection. Even I have one personally, and many enthusiasts have a number of them laying around. The watch comes standard on a bracelet, but it's easy to swap out the watch's bracelet with a hardened leather or rubber strap, and it even looks good on a NATO. The Seiko Prospex Turtle is sized at 42.4 millimeters with a water resistance rating of 200 meters. Price for the Seiko Prospex runs between $625 and $1,200 depending on make and configuration. As you probably know, I really enjoy the Aquis lineup from Oris, which is the brand's most serious dive watch collection. But Oris really hit it out of the park with the Aquis Calibre 400. The Calibre 400 takes all of the Aquis' best attributes, including 300 meters of water resistance, and slims it down to a 41.5 millimeter case, a real sweet spot for dive watches. The simple sunburst dial with a single color makes the watch incredibly legible, and Oris has some of the better lume in the market, making the Calibre 400 a formidable dive watch even at the deepest of depths. The Calibre 400 also boasts Oris' in-house movement, a plus in my view. The Oris Aquis Calibre 400 can be purchased for $3,700 on the brand's website. When you think of dive watches, you probably don't think of Audemars Piguet. But the venerable Librasis-based brand has been making the Royal Oak Offshore diver since 2005. The most recent iteration was released in 2021 and continued to refine AP's dive watches. The watch blends a 300-meter water resistance with the Royal Oak's traditional design elements, including the octagonal bezel. In order to accommodate the royal oak bezel, the watch has an internal rotating bezel operated by a second crown at 10 o'clock. The offshore diver also manages to have a display caseback despite having 300 meters of water resistance. The display caseback showcases the new self-winding automatic Calibre 3120 movement. Because of all of this, the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore Diver is one of my favorite modern dive watches. It is offered in khaki green, navy blue, and gray, and retails for $30,200. It might surprise some that the Remont Supermarine is the watch with the highest water resistance on my list. The Supermarine is water resistant to 2,000 meters, but this increased depth rating comes with the slightly larger 45mm case size. The watch is a nice looking watch, and the unidirectional sapphire bezel has a unique design. If 45mm is too big for your wrist, Bremont also offers a Supermarine in both 40mm and 43mm, though they both come at reduced depth ratings. The Supermarine S2000 retails for $5,295. The Bulova Devil Diver was first released all the way back in 1968, and the model has become pretty popular in the watch collecting community. I even had a vintage Devil Diver for a short time a few years back. Bulova recently relaunched the Devil Divers in 2018, and last year the brand slimmed down the case to 41mm and made the watch feel even more retro with their Archive series model with orange dial. The watch is nicknamed the Devil Diver because it is water resistant to the infamous 666 feet. It really is just a great looking watch that is perfect for someone that doesn't plan on diving too deep. The Bulova Oceanographer Devil Diver is available for $600. So that's it for my favorite dive watches. Let me know in the comments if you agree with my selections or just want to add your own personal favorite. And for a more in-depth look at dive watches, take a look at our full-length article over at wristenthusiast.com. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and share it. And please subscribe to my channel. Thanks again, I'm Craig Carger, and I'll catch you next time.